Hello. Hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello from my heart to yours. What is web plasma? Well, Roger from Mudfossil University has a pretty good scientific explanation about web plasma. What is it and how does it form? So we're going to take a look at Roger. He has over 50 years of studying this kind of stuff.
All right. I am not going to honk my own horn, or I guess they call it blow your own horn, but I've heard it both ways. Now, I did this stuff, I mean, and you can see that I didn't stop doing it. I've done it forever. Now, and I always had problems. I said, no, you guys are not right. You're not right. I went through so many calculations, so many things to show that it's, you know, I understood what they were saying. Let me put it this way. I didn't just jump and say, no, you're not right, you're not right. I figured out that they're not right because they weren't right. It was as simple as that. They weren't right. And I went through all these dipoles and, you know, I mean, this is serious stuff. This was not just a 15-minute guess at, you know, this and that. I looked at all of the different ways that molecules attach, and they were right about a lot of stuff. I have no issue with, once you get outside the nucleus, they're not completely wrong, but they don't understand what an electron's made out of, and they don't understand so much, it's just incredible. And this is 50 years ago. Now, this is the thing I'm most proud of. It goes on and on and on. I mean, all this stuff, this was not easy. I'm going to show you because I'm proud of it, and who the hell cares? I'm bragging. I did all this stuff, and I kept going, and I kept going, and I kept going, and I kept going, and I got to the point where I said, you guys aren't right. Postulates of Bohr theory calculate given an electron from the nucleus. How can you get an electron from the nucleus? Then I came up with this. Transfer of energy from light is to atomic vapor. Exactly. They're electrons. Light is electrons. And then I went down to I ended up coming up with this. If electrons can have any energy, they're called anyons now. And this is 50 years ago. I said the electron can have any energy. It can absorb any wavelength, so therefore it can have any energy and move any distance away from the nucleus because it can have any energy to push and shove to the nucleus. Therefore Rutherford's atom was wrong because that would give no light. I fought everybody. But you know, how can you fight them in that arena? They're the ones that are the heroes, and they just tell you to go away. Well, 50 years later, I'm back. Okay, my friends, Roger once again, Mudfossil University with, apparently, I'm being told this is a worldwide phenomenon. They're seeing these webs of light everywhere. Nobody can understand what's going on. And they flip around like this, and they bridge from the ground to light sources and all kinds of things, different colors and flashing webs. Now, the only thing it does explain it is electron flood theory, which says, and I have, if you've been following me, you probably already know what this is. This is electron plasma. And what that means is in the air, there's a ton of extra electrons, which normally would not be just floating freely in the air. They would have come to the earth slowly, you know, sort of. You know how you touch a water pipe and electricity goes into the ground? Well, it always is migrating towards the ground. However, in this case, there's a ton of extra electrons in the way. So the electrons coming down to get to ground are bashing into these, creating these lights. The different colors are because the light's coming up at them. The only reason you're getting these glowing up here is because we're sending off light out from the Earth. And wherever the light comes up from the Earth, it's bashing into the light coming down, and the two of them hitting together create colors. The color of the emitter is going to predict the color of the crasher. So the crasher coming down is either going to be white or blue or green or red or whatever color it is, depending upon how hard it's being hit coming up this way. So let's follow this through. It's electron flood theory. It's the only thing that explains it. And it says that there is nothing that exists other than electrons. Now watch what happens here. this is not a stagnant picture. This is people driving. See, the cars are driving, and it'll start to flip. The webs will start to flip around. It's getting charged up now. It appeared that at one point it wasn't so highly charged, and now as it goes further and further through, see now there's a cloud coming through here, and that cloud is electrons. You see, there's green lights and blue lights and white webs. They're all different colored webs, and it depends on what the emitter is. Let's come down here. You see how these are flashing? There's just a huge source of electrons in the air. And it seems like there's so many that it's almost like a Tesla coil is putting them out, or a Van de Graaff generator or something is just spitting out tons of extra particles into the air, and they're getting crashed. You see the colors? And the different webs? And they're really starting to grow now as this goes on for an hour and 5 minutes, 6 minutes. Look at that. And that's real. That's not a fake picture. These are actual transitions of electrons, literally, from red to yellow to green to blue. That is the spectrum. This is phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. And it's charging the atmosphere right now, extreme charging of the atmosphere. You see, this is pushing them back up. Push, 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 push. All of a sudden it pops up green again. And I saw one company the other day popped up green just like that in the middle of a field during a lightning storm. And I'll show you that. But this is real. This is not somebody's joking around. This is absolutely certainly real. It's an accumulation of excess electrons in the air. So whatever's pushing up against it this is why it's so continuously non-variant. It's the stuff coming down seems to be coming down. Well, see, it's growing here. So more is hitting here. It's starting to grow more energy at that spot. You see it? But what you want to think about here is, why would that be so consistent? Well, here's why. The light coming up from the ground is consistent. You're not changing this light. Coming down, yes, you're changing the electrons are flooding in here. But right now, it's so saturated with electrons that you can see the various color transitions. It's very, very obvious to somebody that understands electron flood theory, which is me. See where it's pouring out of there? Wherever that thing is, there's a source of electrons pouring out from wherever she's not. I wish I could get over there another inch or so and see it's coming out of this area here, forcing electrons into this. You see them pouring out of there? I'd love her to just, please. Boom. So many that it turned green. I wonder what the hell is over there. Come on, move the camera. We're not going to find out what the source is. But whatever it is, it keeps pushing more. Now it's turned to red. And as it keeps pumping, 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 please turn the camera over there. I don't know if we're ever going to see where it's coming from. But there's no question. It's coming out of there, and it keeps feeding more and more in. And as more and more in, it changes the color patterns. But by the time it gets out here, this is where it's really impacting. That is just phenomenal. I wish I could find out where that started. Oh, there. That's as close as we're going to get. Let me come back there 1 second. This is what research is all about. It takes forever to do this. It's coming right up from here, and that's the source of all these colors. See it? You can see them pouring in. It's over here. We're not going to see any better than that. Up. It's wherever it is, it's coming out of here. Now, what does that mean? It means something is pushing electrons in. Well, what would that be? A light, a transmitter, a Tesla coil, a Van de Graaff generator, a light source, an electron pushing source of something. And these are electrons pushing in, and they push back to the shovers. let me show you what we did, and I can show you a very similar sort of situation in Dublin. Now, this is an electronic fog. Normally, you have a weather system move in. This is very, very unusual. I would like to know what the humidity level was, all that kind of stuff, what the weather conditions were. I didn't see any, lightning or anything in the background. All I saw was an excessive amount of electrons in a cloud, literally. Now, so don't forget, Gina Maria Calvin. Now, let's look at this one for a second. This is by Newsleak, and I saw this, a ton of different channels have this up. But here's what happened here. There was a ton of electrical activity, all kinds of electrical activity going on in the atmosphere, lightning, and that's what you normally see. And then, all of a sudden, from this extremely bright light, a green layer showed up here, which is, I understood exactly what was going on. There were so many electrons in the air that would normally be coming to the Earth. This light is so bright that it pushed back and stopped them head to head. All right, and they're trying to do this in research now to stop light, and that's exactly what's happening there. That is light stopping. Here goes, watch this. And they heard an extreme, spoop, there it goes. They heard a screaming sound, pow, and there it goes. And it stays there. And they were freaking out. You see the lightnings going on, all kinds of things going on. That is the pushback to that. See, this is what they're trying to do, bring atoms to a standstill. Well, we're working with photons. Atoms are thousands and thousands of times bigger than photons. All right, here's what's going on at CERN. They're going to start trying to do what we are doing, which is the photon colliding. We crush them, and they had done this by accident. They came together and forced a boson, which we have done on purpose. Now, coming down here, it says, well, the collisions are very clean. We're colliding photons, which are elementary particles, not composite ones like protons. Listen to this. Wait till you hear how many particles they're using. We're using 2 particles. They're circulating bunches containing 100 billion particles. And to them, a particle is an atom, a proton, which is 1,837 times bigger than what we're using. So multiply 100 billion times 1,837, and that's the particles they're digging through after they have their explosions. We're digging through 2 particles, and we can find exactly what we need to find instantaneously. And it didn't cost a whole lot of money. Okay, so they're digging through 100 billion particles. We're using 2. The case for studying photon collisions, they never could do it because they didn't know how. It says they were talking about this topic, very interesting, for decades, has special meetings about it, and in 1978, nothing ever happened. They just never did it. So these collisions are very clean as we're colliding photons, which is like 2 particles. Elementary particles, not composite ones like protons, thousands of times bigger. And then they're shooting 100 billion at a time. This is a spokesman for CERN. It was first proposed to do this type of physics at the Large Hadron Collider with CERN many years ago, but the project didn't materialize. They didn't know how to do it. We did it by accident. We didn't go out searching to do this. Rodney Warren did it by accident. I saw what he did. Nobody knew what he did, and nobody paid any attention to it. They just thought it was a bunch of little flashes on the screen. It was impossible to see any of this stuff. I realized exactly what it was instantly as soon as I saw what he was doing. And since then, I've been trying to get this understood. And it should be understood because this is the reason our atmosphere is in its condition right now, is electron flooding. That's the theory. Okay, this is exactly what happened with that green light popping up. Extremely bright light right here in the middle of that field. Here's the Earth. You got all kind of lightning going on, because it's saturated with extra electrons. They're trying to get to the ground with lightning bolts and everything. You know, all they are is electrons. And they're just saturated here. That's how lightning forms. Now, this guy said, whoa, 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 I'm sending up rays against your rays. and they literally bang heads. And that's what happens. You get push to shove, and instead of getting red or green or white or blue, it's a green frequency. And I'm going to show you, we have these frequencies. We have red, we have green. They're both exactly the same electrons. No difference, it's just that one is more excited than the other.
Thank you, Roger, for taking time out and answering the question, what is Webb plasma? It's absolutely wonderful. It's remarkable to see what's going on and how CERN fits into this also. So I hope you all did watch this video. You could consider him an expert in this area. So it's not just mere water on a lens. No, it's so much more than that. So much more. So I would encourage you to please keep your mind open and think outside that little box. For those who don't want to think outside that box, think outside of that box for a moment, because our world is changing. You can see the Webb plasma. It's coming to life. It is forming. So what happens next, I don't know, but we need to keep track of what's happening. We really do. Thank you, Roger, once again, from Mudfossil University on YouTube. You can go to his YouTube channel. You can look at all of the stuff that he documents and he studies. All of it. He's a wealth of knowledge. With that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. Please give this video a thumbs up so that others can see it. Those who may want a scientific explanation, you have got it in this video. Thank you.